Hey Chris, I really don't know how to follow a video about My Little Pony, especially when it's about learning how to write from My Little Pony. But what I did get out of that video is that I should write something, and that's what the video is about today. Once upon a time we were both English majors at UWL, and we went to school because we wanted to become writers. And occasionally I remember that I got a degree in writing because I actually like writing. So about a week ago I set out to actually write something. But as you know, there's a big difference between wanting to start writing something and actually beginning to write it. Even though you may know what you want to write or something, or at least you have that idea in your head, sometimes it's really hard to push away the other things that are very distracting. And especially when you're an adult and you have responsibilities like bill paying and work and other annoying things that get in the way, it gets even harder and harder to find time to do these things, to write it down. For me this week, it wasn't so much work that was getting in the way as it was reading the Dresden Files and actually figuring out how I was going to turn this idea into a short story. And to be a novelist, if anything, because I get too attached to my characters and then I want to write a lot about them rather than just the basic facts of the story. So in this case, I had to find a topic that would work as a short story with characters that I could make believable but not get too attached to and want to tell you everything that's ever happened to them ever. And so eventually I came up with this idea of the really lame superpower people. Not actual superpowers, a thing that people can do that makes them special, but not necessarily super like Superman or Spider-Man or those sorts of people. Because I could start writing about the people with the gifts, but it's really difficult to not delve too far into their personal histories to get at the actual story, the meat of the story, if you will, which is all a short story is the meat without any of the extra stuff. But last night, in a somewhat drunken haze, I kind of came up with the idea of how I wanted to actually outline my story. I had the little bits and pieces, and now I finally had a framework, and I just needed to get it out and get it on paper. But instead of going downstairs and writing, I went to bed. So you've got the idea, you've got the framework, and theoretically you have the motivation. So this morning I sit down and I start to write the story, and then I'm kind of enthralled, and it's exciting. And then there's Facebook, and there's Post Secret, and there's about a million other websites that are just as equally entertaining and enthralling and are causing me serious problems. And then there's the worst part, the self-doubt. But fortunately, some people like me have friends like you who post very motivational videos on Facebook, which generally is a time sink, but occasionally is very helpful. And I can't begrudge myself bad writing if I haven't actually written anything, because that's the worst kind of writing, the unwritten, if you will. So random side note, there was a swing set that I was going to sit on and talk to you a little bit about distractions, but as you can see, no swing set. That really sucks because I really like the swing set. You can even see the places where the divots were where people would go swinging by. That's really horribly depressing, actually. So this is part one of a 3-part series I'm going to do. The next part will be talking about the actual writing and editing process, and the third will be the painful and surprisingly complicated process of submitting work. Because I'm gonna submit something, damn it! And my challenge to you is to do similarly, and tell me about your process and your hang-ups. I'm taking this as an opportunity to form a support group about why we suck, and hope that in identifying our weaknesses, eventually we can move past them. See you later, Chris.